Thank you all for being here today. My name is Laura, and I'll be presenting my user research project on how we can improve the at home cooking experience for college students living independently during COVID 19. So, a quick overview of my presentation. I'll first touch briefly on the background of my research, the previous research conducted prior to this survey study, and my design goal. Then I'll go over the results of my study along with discussions and recommendations for each result, what the next steps are, and finally, a brief reflection of my study. So, the goal of my research study is to understand the different challenges that occur during the at home meal preparation, cooking, and cleanup process in order to gain insight into how we can make this process be more efficient and convenient for students living independently during COVID 19. And this study was motivated by research that suggests that individuals who cook meals at home on a regular basis tend to consume less refined and processed sugars and unhealthy fats in comparison to those who don't. However, as revealed in my field study, interview, and secondary research, the at home cooking process can often be laborious, inconvenient, and inefficient. This may result in increased chances of college students relying on cheaper, faster alternatives such as takeout and processed foods. And prior to this survey research, I had also conducted a field study of a college student cooking in her apartment, along with three semi structured interviews. And in my field study, I observed that the lack of cooking materials, a cluttered and disorganized kitchen space, and time constraints were all major pain points in the cooking experience. And I later expanded on these findings in my interviews. And the interviews provided me with participants' thoughts, feelings, and motivations behind their observed actions, as well as validated some of the findings in my field study. In the interview, it revealed that students found it easier to prepare meals when they had more counter space and an abundant amount of storage for food and leftovers. In addition, they noticed that the post meal cleanup process discouraged them from preparing meals at home, and it often made takeout food more appealing. Lastly, the participants expressed concerns over wasting food. For the last phase of my user research project, I set out a survey to college students. And this survey confirmed and extended many of the findings I had found in my previous studies with a larger population of people. It also prioritized which findings were most significant to college students, which allowed me to focus in on those for my results and recommendations. Lastly, I was able to further explore the new findings revealed in my interviews that I could not explore in my field study. So, this study had a sample size of 15 college students, all of whom lived independently, recently transitioned from living with their parents, and had prior experience to cooking. Utilizing screening questions, I made sure to take out anybody who answered no to my inclusion criteria from my study results. I posted my study on my Instagram story, put the link in my Instagram bio, sent the link to my friends via email and text, and posted a link onto the University of Washington subreddit page. And included on this slide are the following higher level research questions that I wanted to address in my survey questions and research. So, some considerations to take into account are that although my sample size was larger than that of my interviews, it is still considerably small sample size for a survey, and therefore the results cannot be generalized to an entire population of college students. In addition, since my survey was not incentivized, students had to volunteer into taking it. This can result in voluntary response bias, which may overrepresent individuals with strong opinions about cooking. Lastly, I noticed that some participants answered no to my screening question, do you have prior experience to cooking? But the rest of their answers to my survey questions clearly demonstrated that they had cooked before. Therefore, I'm assuming that they may have misinterpreted the question and that I should have probably worded it more clearly. And I did include these results into my study results because I just felt that that they had just interpreted that screening question, and many of the answers that they provided were pretty useful. So diving into my findings, when I asked college students to rank what was the most significant barrier to their cooking experience, The majority of students place time as both their first and second choice in comparison to the other options. In addition, when asked what is the main reason why they are inclined to order takeout, 60% of the respondents said it was because they felt as if they had no time to cook. So it just seemed like a very significant pain point to their overall cooking experience. And so the implications of this are that a college student's busy schedule may make it difficult for them to include cooking into their routine. Making elaborate meals can often take a long time. Therefore, it seems as if they are discouraged from cooking at home and they may be more likely to opt in for healthier meal alternatives such as takeout and prepackaged meals. So, I would recommend that we try to figure out a way to make the convenient and quick meals that students may fall back to more healthy, as well as implementing strategies that may lessen their meal prep time. This could include providing students with meal hacks or healthier recipes for quick, convenient meals, perhaps providing a recipe blog or a resource that is specifically curated to giving students recipes that require little to no prep time and incorporate healthier ingredients. In addition, encouraging students to meal prep ingredients such as cutting up vegetables and storing them into containers may be useful. This can be less time consuming than meal prepping entire meals and will eliminate the ingredient preparation process so that students can quickly whip up dinner after coming home from work or school utilizing their already prepped ingredients. The second result I found was that the majority of students were unsatisfied with their kitchen space, and in the open response questions, they mentioned that having less room to cook made it difficult to prep meals. Both my field study and interview findings revealed the negative impact of lack of counter space and a disorganized kitchen space had on a student's cooking experience. These survey findings confirmed these findings. And it also elaborated further onto them by mentioning the effect that having roommates and sharing a kitchen space had on their cooking experience. Since 85% of my participants or respondents stated that they live in a shared space, and one of them mentioned that they often felt as if they could not cook meals when their roommates were in the kitchen as well, and that they waited for them to leave in order to cook a meal, suggests that this is also a contributing factor to their dissatisfaction to their kitchen space. And an unsatisfactory kitchen can be discouraging for students to prepare meals since less space makes it harder for students to meal prep and to just cook in general. Similar to my recommendations highlighted in my interview, I would propose solutions that can be added on into the kitchen space since a lot of the issues are related to the structure of the kitchen, which can be difficult to change. One suggestion was to create a product that allows users to hook a flat board onto the edge of the counter space, allowing for an extension of that space. And once that user is done cooking, they can remove the added on counter space and store it somewhere else. And in order to address the roommate issue, one option could be to help students coordinate with their roommates on times to cook based off of their schedules so that they can figure out when they can use the kitchen or so that they don't use the kitchen at the same time. My last finding revealed that many students are mainly motivated to cook because they wanted to be healthier and save money. And this was revealed in my open response question asking what motivated them to cook at home. And as you can see, I received a lot of answers that mentioned saving money and being healthy. So this implies that students are intrinsically motivated to cook at home because they value being healthy and that they are aware that cooking at home is better for their health than eating out. In addition, they are extrinsically motivated to save money and they just value saving money. And I wanted to leverage these motivations in my recommendations. One option could be having a payment tracker reveal how much of their spendings go toward takeout food, which may motivate them to cook at home more often since saving money was something that they valued. In addition, I would recommend providing virtual classes on cooking easy nutritional meals to students. This could motivate students to cook meals more often after learning more about the different health benefits that come from preparing meals at home. I decided to prioritize time constraints first because I found this to be the most significant pain point in my survey, and I believe that the solutions in this could address other issues that were brought up in my previous studies, like how to improve the post-meal cleanup process. I prioritize unsatisfactory kitchen space as my second priority because it was brought up in my interviews and field research, and there are many opportunities for design available in this problem space. Lastly, I made extrinsic and intrinsic motivators my third prioritization because motivations to cook were not as heavily explored in my previous studies, and it does not relate to my design question as much as the other two findings. My next steps would be to start exploring the efficacy of my recommendations with my participant population. I want to make sure that these recommendations would be adapted well. For example, would college students even be willing to prepare ingredients beforehand as a way to save time with cooking, or is it something that they had already thought about and just simply did not want to do? Reflecting on my survey research, I found that a lot of my questions were just confirming the pain points that I brought up in my previous studies, and I wish I had asked more questions that would have produced new findings or elaborate further on my existing findings. In addition, I felt that asking questions about where they received recipes was not as necessary as I thought it would be. And lastly, my third findings recommendations doesn't seem to really address my design question regarding how to make the cooking process more efficient and convenient. However, the reason I'm exploring how to make the cooking process to be more fast and convenient is because I want to encourage students to cook more at home. And I feel as if understanding students' extrinsic and intrinsic motivations provides me with insight on how we can encourage them to cook more often. Therefore, next time I would like to change my design question to not be as restricting and allow me to explore more areas within the design space. Overall, however, I really enjoyed this process. It was really nice to quantify my qualitative data as well as see my findings be validated by a broader and larger population of people. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.